Why Bill Gates focuses on purpose, not money. Bill Gates is worth over $100 billion. He could buy entire countries. He could live in absurd luxury for 10 lifetimes and still have money left over, but instead he spends his days working on malaria vaccines, sanitation systems for developing countries, and education reform. Let's get into it. Bill Gates didn't start out as a philanthropist. He started out ruthless. In the early days of Microsoft, he was known as one of the most aggressive, competitive, cutthroat businessmen in tech. He worked insane hours. He demanded perfection from his employees. He crushed competitors without hesitation. The goal was simple: dominate the personal computer software market, and he succeeded beyond anyone's imagination. By the time he was 31, he was a billionaire. By 40, he was the richest person on earth. During those years, money wasn't just a scorecard, it was the mission. Every decision was about growing Microsoft, increasing market share, and building wealth. Gates himself has said he was obsessed. He didn't take vacations. He didn't have hobbies. He barely slept. The company was everything, and for a long time, that worked. The wealth grew, the power grew. Microsoft became one of the most valuable companies in the world, but somewhere along the way, something shifted. And it wasn't because he ran out of money to make. It was because he realized money had stopped meaning anything. There's a story Gates tells about a conversation he had with Warren Buffett in the early 90s. They'd just met, and Buffett asked him a simple question: what's the point of having all this money if you're not going to use it for something meaningful? Gates didn't have a good answer. He'd been so focused on building the empire that he hadn't stopped to think about what the empire was actually for. That question stuck with him. Around the same time, his mother was dying of cancer, and on her deathbed, she told him something that hit even harder. She said, "From those to whom much is given, much is expected." Those two moments planted a seed. Gates started thinking about legacy, not the business legacy, but the human one. What would he actually leave behind? A software company? A pile of money his kids would inherit? That didn't feel like enough. He started reading about global health. He started learning about extreme poverty, and what he found shocked him. Millions of children were dying every year from diseases that were completely preventable. Malaria, diarrhea, pneumonia. These weren't complicated problems, they were solvable with money and focus, and yet nobody with serious resources was working on them. That's when the shift happened. Gates realized he had something more valuable than money. He had the ability to mobilize resources at a scale almost nobody else could. He could hire the best scientists. He could fund research that governments wouldn't touch. He could move faster than bureaucracies. And most importantly, he could focus on problems that weren't profitable, because that was the key insight. The market doesn't solve every problem. Some problems affect people who have no money. And if you're waiting for capitalism to fix those problems, you'll be waiting forever. In 2000, Bill and Melinda Gates launched the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with an initial endowment of over $20 billion. It's now the largest private foundation in the world with an endowment over $60 billion, and it operates like a business. Gates brought the same intensity and focus he had at Microsoft, but instead of maximizing profit, the goal was maximizing impact. How many lives can we save? How many people can we lift out of poverty? How much suffering can we eliminate? The foundation focuses on a few key areas: global health, education, agricultural development, and sanitation. These aren't sexy causes, they don't generate headlines, but they're areas where money can create massive, measurable change. Take malaria. When the foundation started working on it in the early 2000s, malaria was killing over 1 million people a year, mostly children in sub-Saharan Africa. The disease had been largely ignored by pharmaceutical companies because the people dying from it couldn't afford expensive treatments, so there was no profit incentive to develop new drugs or vaccines. Gates approached it differently. He didn't care about profit. He funded research that drug companies wouldn't touch. He bankrolled vaccine trials. He invested in mosquito nets and prevention programs. And over 20 years, the results have been staggering. Malaria deaths have dropped by over 60%. Millions of lives saved. That's not a side project. That's not charity for the sake of feeling good. That's a calculated effort to solve a specific problem at scale, and it worked. So why did Gates shift from making money to giving it away? The simple answer is that money stopped providing satisfaction. There's a concept in psychology called hedonic adaptation. Basically, humans get used to things. The first $1 million feels incredible. The first billion feels amazing. But by the time you hit 10 billion or 50 billion, the number stops meaning anything. You can't spend it. You can't even visualize it. It's just an abstraction. And when the thing you've been chasing your whole life becomes meaningless, you're left with a choice. Keep chasing it out of habit or find something that actually matters. Gates found that purpose provides something money never could. A sense of progress that doesn't plateau. When you're trying to save lives, there's no ceiling. There's always another problem to solve, another disease to fight, another community to help. The work is never finished, and that's actually motivating. With money, you eventually hit diminishing returns. With purpose, the returns keep coming. Every child who doesn't die from malaria is a win. Every community that gets access to clean water is a win. The scoreboard never stops moving. There's also the legacy factor. Gates is 70 now. He's thinking about what he leaves behind. And he's realized that nobody remembers businessmen for being rich. They remember them for what they built or what they changed. Andrew Carnegie is remembered for libraries, John Rockefeller for medical research, Alfred Nobel for the Nobel Prize. Their wealth is a footnote, their impact is the story. Gates wants the same thing. He wants to be remembered for eradicating diseases, not for writing operating systems. In 2010, Gates and Warren Buffett launched the Giving Pledge. It's a commitment by the world's wealthiest people to give away the majority of their wealth to philanthropy. Over 200 billionaires have signed it so far, including Elon Musk, Mackenzie Scott, and Mark Zuckerberg. The idea is simple. If you've been fortunate enough to accumulate massive wealth, you have a responsibility to use it for the greater good. Not because the government forces you, not because it's good PR, but because it's the right thing to do. Gates has been vocal about this. He's said multiple times that he doesn't believe in dynastic wealth. He thinks it's bad for society and bad for his kids. He's leaving them each a few $1 million enough to be comfortable, but not enough to never work. The rest of his fortune, estimated at over $100 billion, is going to the foundation. And here's the kicker. He's not waiting until he dies. He's giving it away now while he can oversee how it's used, because he's learned that money sitting in a bank account does nothing. Money deployed towards solving problems changes the world. You might be thinking that's great for Bill Gates, but what does it mean for me? I'm not a billionaire. I can't fund vaccine research. And that's fair, but the principle scales. Gates didn't wait until he had $100 billion to start thinking about purpose. He started thinking about it when he realized money alone wasn't enough. And that realization can happen at any level of wealth. You don't need to be rich to ask yourself what actually matters. What am I working toward? What do I want to leave behind? What problems do I care about solving? For most people, purpose doesn't mean starting a foundation. It means finding work that aligns with your values. It means contributing to your community. It means raising kids with good character. It means creating something that outlasts you. The point isn't the scale. The point is the shift from chasing more to building meaning. Gates has said that the happiest he's ever been wasn't when Microsoft hit $1 billion in revenue. It was when he saw a village in Africa get access to clean water for the first time because of something his foundation funded. That's the difference. Money is a means. Purpose is the end.